Hey guys, Coach Cotto here from Icons Rugby. How's it going? Back here in Brizzy, just back home for a couple of weeks, and I'm loving the family time. It's fantastic. But I bumped into a couple of players that I've been dealing with for the last couple of years, and had a couple of chats. And this one player, for example, is a really good fella. Like he's an up and coming athlete. He's always been on like that cusp of making a rep side and not making a rep side, and really works hard, but is really always the next guy. He's always one off. The coaches always have something to say. He's a bit of a rambunctious kind of guy, so he gets a lot of kickback because of that. But at the end of the day, like, the dude on the field works hard, hits hard, runs hard, so he kind of ticks your boxes. But it's been interesting. Like he's the kind of player who, without like crying about not making rep sides, it's always on his head. He's always like, "Oh, I didn't make this. Why? I didn't make this team. Why?" And recently I heard a story that he had this opportunity come up to him that was really presented in the way of, you can come try, and if you make it, we'll look at you. And for a footy player, you have to see those as golden opportunities. Especially as an up-and-coming athlete, no one is going to give you something to say, "Hey, we want you, we're going to sign you." It just doesn't happen these days. Like, there's so much talent out there. Coaches and clubs are not in a position where they have to beg for people to come. Unless you're that one in a million that everyone knows about, like a Caleb Ponga or something like that, that's going to have 10 clubs chasing him, but you got to think about it. That's one kid in that age bracket of, 200,000 rugby players in just Australia. You know what I mean? So you've got to think about it this way. And it got me really thinking, because we dissected where his decision-making came from. And this is what I want to discuss today, is that decision-making process. And it came back down to one of my favorite topics, is he based his decisions on fear. Now, when I said, "Bro, you based your decisions on fear," he was like, no, I didn't. And he said, well, I asked, "Why did you not take this opportunity?" And he said, "Well, they just said come and try. What happens if I don't make it? And then I'm playing at a higher level where I am now, playing opens, and they're going to drop me back to like a Division 2 or 18s, and I don't want to play 18s. I want to play Colts, or I want to play opens men's." And I was like, "Bro, that's fear. Like, you're basing it on the what if you don't make it, rather than the potential of what it could create." And it took a while for this to sink in. Now, this kid's 18. He's been around the footy systems a long time. He comes from a rugby league family. And he didn't recognize that fear was controlling his decision-making on the basis that if he doesn't make it. Now, I understand the realities of not making it in sport. 100%. I didn't make it. I know what it's like. I know what that fear can set in. But I also know what I've been able to see and create with other athletes are when they unlock that extra bit, because they're not controlled by that decision-making process. They see the 1% chance to impress and improve as an actual real opportunity, and they're driven by that, so they find an extra edge to actually unlock that higher echelon of performance. And attitude is one of the biggest things that comes with it. And it really interested me as I was talking to him, because it became a common trait. And we were able to literally sit down and break down the past 4 weeks of his thinking from this, opportunity, all based around fear-based decisions. He had a fear that he wasn't going to make it. He had a fear that he would burn the club that he's already at. He had a fear that, his mates would turn on him. He had a fear that, if he changes clubs, what happens if they don't like him at the new club? Like, is the coach telling him lies? So his whole preconceived environment of, him feeling as though he's a victim from coaches, him feeling as though he's never made a rep side before or a number one side, him feeling as though people are going to judge him, influenced this fresh-based decision of a new club, a new coach, a new opportunity. And guys, especially as like male and female athletes coming into, when you're in that youth kind of transition period, you got to see new clubs as a clean slate. You know, yes, coaches will talk to other coaches and find out a little bit about you, but if they're offering a chance to come train and have a chop, then they're realistically taking you on, well, yes, okay, this coach or this team said this before, but I need to see it from my own eyes. Now, the beautiful thing about that is that's as clean a slate as they come, because you're getting an extremely fresh chance. So you have that ability to completely change what's been written before about you. And it's really something that's super interesting, because I honestly feel people do not discuss this enough around fear-based decisions. People making decisions on, oh, what if I don't, rather than the opportunity of. You know, it's a huge thing. It's risk versus reward. Like, you got to think about it. A new club, what are you really losing by going to a new club for a new opportunity? You know, and I teach loyalty. 100% I teach loyalty. But you've got to be, in this day and age, the clubs are not necessarily as loyal as you to them, because you come from a fan base. So most players are fans of a club. And when you realize that the modern day rugby league and union is turning into a business, and it's not that social environment anymore, especially if you're trying to make it. If you're looking for beers on a Saturday after having a hard game, go to one club, stick with that club, make mates for life, 100% do that. Do that. If you're trying to crack it, then you need to be looking for opportunity. And I don't see how it's different from if you finish university and you get 4 job offers. You're going to do your research. You're going to go to the best job that suits you and your long-term development, right? You might have done work experience at job A, but you get offered from B, C, and D. Are you just going to go to job A because you made that work experience? Well, yes, some people will go there because it's comfortable, because they're afraid that if they go elsewhere, it won't be up to scratch, or it might be something different. Rather than doing the research, having a crack at the one that actually could create a better future, and making the most of that opportunity. So the most interesting thing about this story is, as footy goes, you know, this young fella is now injured and that opportunity's gone. And I'm not saying that he got injured because he didn't go, but like, he's now got nothing, and he now does not have that opportunity to go to that club now. He's got to wait till he comes back from injury. And basically, because he didn't come first time, that door's not closed, but it's been half shut. Well, mate, you didn't take our opportunity the first time, so, you know, we're not overly active going to be looking at you when you come. And that's exactly how it works. That's how it breaks down. You know, when someone opens a door for you and you go, oh, I don't know if I want that door, they go, okay, cool. You don't trust me. You don't respect me. You don't want this door to be open, so I'm going to close it on you. I'm not going to lock it, but I'm going to close it. And that's exactly what happens, guys. You must understand this. From your position, you're sitting there, I'll just go to that club next year. I'll do this next year. No. When a door is opened, it is only open for a short amount of time. When an opportunity presents itself, it has a shelf life. Okay? Yes, it could stay on the shelf for a long time, but as it gets older, it ain't going to taste as good. All right? So guys, I really, really implore people to start thinking about what is controlling your decision making. How are you making those decisions? How are you talking to yourself about, okay, hold on, why don't I want to go to this club? And the worst thing is that people don't write it down. So one of the tasks I get a lot of my athletes to do in my coaching courses is I get them to write down the pros and cons, and then the reasons why they're making those decisions. What is the underlying factor to that decision? And once they understand what is controlling that thought process, they can actually think about it and dissect it and go, you know what, hold on, that's fear, or that's disbelief, or that's lack of confidence. I don't need that in my life, so I can get rid of that. I can scratch that off. That's not a good enough reason not to go. And that's how they make better decisions. So guys, I want to thank you so much for listening in, and it's Coach Curto, and I'm out. Peace.